Welcome to Kentucky Horsepower, the official podcast of the Kentucky Automobile Dealers Association.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Kentucky Horsepower, the official podcast of the Kentucky Auto Dealers Association. My name is Caitlin Carlisle, and I am the Communications Director at KADA. And I'm very excited to be sitting down today with Mark Baruth from RockED, a fairly new KADA Preferred Partner program. Thanks so much for sitting down with me today, Mark.
Oh, thanks for having me, Caitlin. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I thought that we could kick things off today kind of with just talking about RockED, what you guys do for those who don't know, sort of some of the services and the resources that you guys provide.
Yeah, sure. So at the very highest level, RockED is a performance improvement program, and we focus on micro learnings through a video application, mobile application. And we are pretty convinced that there is a pretty good disconnect right now between the way we think about our business and the way that we actually act in the auto business when it comes to how we develop people. I think if you asked every single dealership that you've ever talked to in your life, they would tell you that we're in the people business, right? I think that's a very common theme. People say, what do you do? Oh, we're not in the car business. We're in the people business, and they're absolutely right, But what they kind of focus on in that sense is handling the external customer experience. And if you look at what dealerships have done for the last couple of years, there's a real focus on making that customer experience better, right? Reducing the amount of time people are in the dealership, meeting them where they are, doing things digitally rather than in an analog fashion in the dealership. And we're trying to take that same experience that dealerships are so focused on giving to the external customer and make sure that they're helping them do the same thing with their internal customers or their employees, right? And taking what they want their external customer experience to be, which is online, mobile focused, mobile friendly, fast and easy, meeting customers where they are, and transitioning that also to the internal customer experience for their employees. So when they're onboarding people or they're continuing education, whether that's in sales and service, F&I, leadership, that they're doing the same thing for their people. So our platform has over 1,500 videos in it right now. It's a mobile application, so it can only be used on a device, not on the desktop or the laptop back in the training room, but actually on the device in the way that we're finding that people like to digest content right now. And it's 90 to 120 second micro learning videos that are geared towards literally almost everybody in the dealership. So that's kind of the overall gist, I guess, if you want to put it that way.
No, that's amazing. I think it's really interesting because we kind of harp on and emphasize a lot how the automotive community and, dealers and dealership staff are really kind of at the front lines of new and developing technology. Because if you think about it, new vehicles that come out, they have all sorts of new gadgets or they have new technology built into them, or you look at the movement like electric vehicles. And, these people at the dealership, they need to not only know about it, they need to educate, their customers about it, and they need to be able to sell it. And so it's really cool because I feel like, RockED is of this same vein, that dealership staff are used to with sort of, taking on new technology and understanding it. And especially, in our society and culture nowadays of like, you're always on your phone. So,
oh gosh, yeah. Yeah, no, that's exactly right. I mean, we know that when we talk to dealerships all across the country, not just in Kentucky, but everywhere, one of the main concerns that we hear from people is that their salespeople are really only selling about 2 hours out of the day. So what are they doing with the rest of their time? And when we ask some of our clients or potential clients that, they will say, oh, well, they're supposed to be filling out the CRM. They're supposed to be researching, whether that's in, something like an automotive mastermind or something like that. And then we get through that and we say, okay, but what are they really doing? And to pretty much everybody's chagrin, well, they're on their phone. They're on TikTok, they're on Instagram, they're on YouTube Shorts, something along those lines. And so we think it's best to meet people where they are. We've seen surveys that we've conducted in this industry that indicate that 9 out of 10 millennials and Gen Zs, which is pretty much who's being hired in the dealership today, they say it's really important for them to have the latest and most up-to-date technology in their workplace. And I think that the dealership environment has met that challenge when it comes to things like Techion, right, or Automotive Mastermind, or any of these great solutions that they're using on the customer-facing side of the business. But when it comes to developing and coaching and training employees, well, a lot of that experience is still pretty analog. And a lot of it is still, we've got a guy, in the dealership who's got a playbook and he's been using it for a long time. And that's how we train people. Or they have somebody coming in and doing what I would call a training event, right? They've got a vendor who comes in and does a great job, but they're probably pulling people off the floor for 6, 7, 8 hours. And they have that training event, and then they go on with their lives. And then they have another training event, maybe 3 months later, and they go on with their lives. The idea behind RockEd is that we're really making development part of the culture, not just an event. So for our partners in Kentucky and everywhere else who are embracing RockEd, what they're finding is it's almost like going to the gym. If you're really trying to get stronger, or you're trying to lose that extra 5 pounds from the holidays or whatever it is, if you just go one time, it doesn't really do much, right? You go and you feel good, you get the blood flowing. But if you don't go back the next day and the next day and the next day, nothing really changes. And we find the same thing when it comes to learning and development. If you have that training event, you have somebody come in, or even if you're just onboarding new hires and they're in the training room for a week and then it's kind of over, well, nothing really changes. So our technology is really designed to let people interact with it on a daily basis for 2 to 5 minutes, watch 1 or 2 videos, and then get on with the rest of your day. And then come back the next day and watch 1 or 2 more videos, and then go on with the rest of your day. And having that consistent, it's like just like everything else that we do in our lives, whether it's your Fitbit app or your Duolingo or anything else that's been transitioned to mobile. You check in on your app, you see how your daily progress is going, and you move from there. So that's a lot of the design behind our app, and a lot of the impetus for it came from those types of apps, right? Whether it's Fitbit or Duolingo or Peloton or anything like that. We've taken that same type of learning environment and tried to translate it to automotive.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. I was even thinking, it's something like, TikTok. How many people, use TikTok to learn nowadays, but, get on their phones and watch TikTok videos. It's like, okay, well, instead, maybe I can get on and actually, learn something that's applicable to me, in my job. That's kind of a good segue, because I was curious. I know you guys have, like you said, you've done quite a lot of like research and studies. And I was, perusing your website, and you say, for example, that, employees will be 70% more productive with proper onboarding. You say 85% of RockED learners are more motivated. So like, maybe what are some of, I guess, like the specific features, that you've seen that have really helped, people at the dealership? I know you said there's videos, and I know you bring in like industry experts and everything, but maybe if some of the specific features that you'd like to highlight.
Certainly. You thank you for doing that research, because it makes this conversation a little easier. And you're absolutely right. There is such a difference between the way people engage with RockED and the way that they engage with traditional learning and development that happens in the dealership. Think about this. If you are a brand new employee and you started at a dealership and they say, okay, well, you've got to go watch the OEM training videos, which everybody does. I always ask people, how often does somebody go back and re-engage with that OEM training video? And there's almost a confusion about that question, because the answer is never, right? I mean, when was the last time somebody said, oh, I really want to go and watch some more OEM training. I really want to sit down behind that desktop for another 45 minutes. It just doesn't happen, right? So the feature about RockED that's really compelling in that sense is that we have a daily active user rate of about 40%. And what that means is that people are willingly coming back into the app on a daily basis and digesting content on their own, right? They're not being forced to do it. There's no gun to their head. They are saying, this is really cool. I'm learning from this, and I'm re-engaging with it willingly and on a daily basis. And of course, there are features inside the app that encourage that, whether it's we have streaks, just like a Duolingo or something like that. People want to keep their streak going. I had a rep call me from one of our dealerships in Kentucky, who said, I'm on a 140-day streak, but I'm going on vacation. What do? I might not have cell phone signal. Like, he was really concerned. He didn't want to learn a streak. He's like, is there any way I can put it on pause while I'm on vacation or anything like that? So there's a lot of that really encourages people to engage. We have a new leaderboard function, and this is crazy, Caitlin. We actually have we just rolled out RockEd at Oxmoor Auto Group in Louisville, and they're using it with their interns. And Oxmoor has a great program where they bring in interns from Louisville, University of Kentucky, Western Kentucky, Eastern Kentucky, even some from out of state. They even had one young lady from England, and they wanted a way to engage with young people in the format that they like. RockED's perfect for that, right? So we developed a leaderboard. And so what they can do is they can keep track every day of who's watching the content, if they have a streak going, and they get points for all of that. They get 20 points for the first couple of videos they watch each, and then they get 5 points for every video after that, because we don't want them to over-engage with the content, right? We want them to just come and get their daily learning. And we saw in the first week of this, we just launched it in May. The first week, the three young people who had the most points had like over 900, 800, 700 points. Like, it was crazy. And I was like, wow, but they loved the content. When I went back and spoke with them, a week later after we launched, they were all kind of grabbing me at the door as I was walking into the dealership over there in Louisville, like, hey, I'm first on the leaderboard. I'm second on the leaderboard, and so there's a competition aspect of it that people really love. So I think that is one of the things that, or a couple of the things that really make people want to re-engage with us, is that it's also just, 90 to 120 seconds.
Right.
We have a lot of people who liken us. I've heard it say, it's like masterclass meets TikTok is the way that they've described RockED. And so they get that little bite-sized component, and they can do it really anytime, right? Whether they're getting ready in the morning or they're doing it at home, because it is on their mobile device. They don't have to do it in the dealership. So they can carry it with them and do it wherever they want. And that really allows people to engage with the content in the way that they want to, at the time that they want to. And there's even features in there that allow people to select the type of content they want. So, for example, Oxmoor had, we helped them plan an onboarding path over 6 weeks. So we can go in there and we can say, here are the videos that we want you to watch. We call them guides and journeys. The guides are the individual videos. The journeys are collections of videos. And we say, watch these journeys in this order. And it just kind of sets that first 6 weeks up, right? So they don't really have to think about what their people need to learn. It's already there in the app. It's automatically, prompting them with notifications on a daily basis to go in and use it. So we really think that we've done a good job making it user-friendly, making people want to engage with it. And then also, you mentioned having all the experts come in. And that's really at the core of it, right? Is that if the content wasn't any good, it wouldn't matter how good the app was, how good the experience was. If the content itself wasn't really top-notch, nobody would engage with it. And we've really focused on that. We've brought in over 50 experts from across this industry. So when people are engaging with RockED, it's not what I like to call an ivory tower trainer. I was a sales trainer, auto trader myself for 4 years. And I visited over 2,500 dealerships in that time. But I have actually never sold a car. So I wouldn't be on the RockED app, because I haven't done the job that these people are doing. And we pulled in people from the industry, general managers, salespeople, service advisors, people who've actually done these jobs, and they're giving their tips. So if you want to learn how to do a great walk around, well, we have Jason Hearn, who is the 2-time Hyundai walk around champion. He's won $25,000 each time. So if you want to learn how to do a great BDC, well, we have Erica Tiffany Wells, who runs the BDC for the Walzer Group, one of the biggest groups in the country. So we're actually getting the people from the field in there. So I think the user experience is great. The way the app is designed has been very thoughtful and purposeful. But then, like I said, the content is really what drives it all home.
Right. No, that's great. Thank you for expanding on that, because I think, probably one of the big on the fence or questions is, how is this better than, traditional in-person, training or whatever. And I think you sort of going into detail about some of those features really kind of highlights that, as well as, your experience working with Oxmoor Group. I think that's great. So people understand exactly what it looks like. Okay, I got this app. How do I go in there, and what does it mean for me on a day-to-day sort of basis? So thank you for that. And that kind of ties in a little bit to, so what does the implementation process look like for you? Because I'm sure, this being sort of a new format to train, maybe someone is saying, this sounds really great, but what does it
Mhm.
look like? So what? I sign up with RockED, and then what happens? I just tell my employees to download the app and that's it? Or what does that kind of look like?
Yeah, no, we have a dedicated partner experience team, and I think that is one of the things that definitely is a differentiator for RockED versus pretty much anybody else in this type of business. We have a partner experience team that will come and do an in-person launch at the store, and they will bring everybody into your conference room, whether that's your salespeople, your leadership, your service advisors, and it's very quick because we understand that we're trying to adhere to the same philosophy that's inside of our app, right? So we don't pull people off the floor for 8 hours to learn how to use RockED or anything like that. We help them download the app. We help them get started. We show them how to search for content. We show them how to log in and use their dealership email address for that. And when they log in for the first time, they're going to select their job title, they're going to select their tenure, and they're going to select kind of their experience overall in the business. And then our artificial intelligence is actually going to select the best content for them based on that. But then we're also going to meet with the leadership of the dealership, general manager, general sales manager, service director, and we're going to sit down with them and say, okay, what content would you really like to see your teams absorb? And we're going to help show them how they can assign content out to both groups of people as well as individuals. We're also going to show them how they can view the reporting that's inside the app, which is very robust, that will show them how people are engaging with it, what videos they're watching, how much time they're spending inside of the app. And we're going to show them how to use the leaderboard so they can, create contests. I mean, every dealership in the world has a contest running, at some point for sales or for service or whatever it is. So we find that sort of thing really motivates people as well. And we typically even pitch in a little bit on that. We'll buy lunch for the best performer for the first week or something like that, just to kind of encourage people to get going. But it's not just a one-time thing. We do ongoing workshops. You all have that dedicated partner experience manager who is your single point of contact for everything RockED. And they will come into your store, every 45, 60 days after you're done as needed to really help you continue to keep that learning going. I think it's really important. Lots of people get excited about the technology up front. They see all the great content, they see how easy it is to use, and they get really excited. We want to keep that excitement level high. It's great if people use it for the first week, the first month, the first 90 days, but we want to continue to engage with people on that. So they're always going to have new content rolling out into the app. I think that's a big differentiator for us, Caitlin, is that a lot of the other people in this industry, there's one gentleman in particular who, you can see his videos and he's, kind of older in some, younger in some, a little heavier in some, a little lighter in some others, and it's like this content is pretty aged. Our content is up to date, relevant. We are creating 60 to 100 new videos every single month. And we own our own platform. We own our own content. So we control all of that. And so we're going to continue to help you engage with that. And we want feedback from our partners as well. So a great example of that is, at the beginning of the year, we started to hear a lot of feedback that people need to get back to basics. That during COVID, people, were just basically selling one of the 4 cars they had on the lot. And, there wasn't really a lot of selling happening. It was more order taking. And so we wanted to focus on that. And then we also wanted to focus on the various challenges that were new in the year, 2023. And so we have new content in there around things like how to sell with high interest rates, because that's obviously a current condition. How to sell when trade-in values are kind of wonky or weird. So we always have our ear to the ground with our partners, and we're trying to develop content that's relevant for them. So a lot of that back and forth that we have with our partners does help us create new relevant content that they really like to engage with. So it's not just a one-time thing. It is an ongoing relationship that we have with our RockED partners all across the country, which are over 500 now.
Right. I think that's a really, really cool distinction that you just made. The fact that the content is growing and also changing, because if you think about it, you go into maybe any sort of training, whether it's in the dealership or any job, and you have that initial training. Probably after that, there's not a whole lot afterwards, but
Right.
there are major shifts that occur, in the market and in everything. And so I think
Oh
that's
my
really
goodness,
great.
yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I mean, of course. Yeah, I mean, we're seeing, Caitlin, that the investment that people are making in the salary side of their business, the payroll side of their business, has just skyrocketed. I mean, in 2019 or so, since then it's gone up 40% as far as what the investment in people is in a dealership. And I just don't think that dealerships can continue to have a sort of sink or swim attitude that you might have been able to do a few years ago. It's just we're spending so much money, and it's the most expensive investment that any dealership is doing, and it's really difficult to measure the ROI on that. So you're absolutely right. It can't just be people get started and they have their new hire training, and then it's kind of good luck. Your manager's in the back. Let me know if you need anything. And of course we understand how busy a general manager is, how busy a sales manager is, how busy a service director is. And even though I think they all know and they all want coaching to be at the forefront of what they do every day, it's just not always possible. And so, why not have this virtual assistant that helps, coach and train your people? And we have, we just had a great meeting with Robert Sabah, who's up a part of the Jake Sweeney group up in Northern Kentucky. And, he was one of the first stores that we brought on board as a general manager up there. And, he talks over and over again about how, with these young people that are coming into his dealership who, most of the people that are getting hired in dealerships today, not only do they not have dealership experience, they may not have any sales experience at all. So he's like, well, I want to spend time with them. But it's not always possible. So, if they're logging in every day, it's like having that coach in their pocket, right? That they can do. And, some of that content that we have is not just how to sell a car. It's not just how to, sell a new set of tires, although that's certainly important. But we have really great content in there. Like we have a FBI client negotiator, Scott Tillema, who teaches you how to negotiate. I mean, who else better than somebody who's negotiating world peace, right, or terrorism, to teach you how to negotiate. We have a Division I college basketball coach, Pete Strickland, who talks about how to coach yourself and motivational things. We have a young lady who's a Canadian NASCAR driver, who is the first Canadian to ever win a race in NASCAR, and so she talks about that competitive mindset. So it's not just walk arounds, it's not just test drives. It is motivational, it is coaching, it is inspirational. And so there's something in there for everybody. So it's not just the first week that everybody gets, like you were talking about, like, hey, here's how to do a walk around. Here's how you do our 10-step selling process. It's growing above and beyond that. And we have leadership content in there from a gentleman who was a Marine and a therapist. And he has a great, journey called Lead Like a Marine, Listen Like a Therapist. It's fantastic. So we really are very proud of the content that's out there. And I think it's really going to help a lot of people.
No, it sounds great, and we're really excited about the partnership. We absolutely think that the platform is something that could very much benefit our dealers in Kentucky, and so we're looking forward to sort of working with you guys and building this up a little bit. And if I'm speaking of that, you will be at convention, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, we will be at convention. I will personally be there, so I'm really excited about that.
Perfect. Yeah, so I would encourage, everyone listening, if you haven't registered for a convention, register. And if you are planning to go, definitely look out for Mark and the RockED team there to chat with them a little bit about RockED and just meet and greet. I don't have any more questions for you, Mark. Anything else that you wanted to say or?
Well, Caitlin, just thanks for having me today. I'm a Kentuckian. I've been here for 15 years. I live in Winchester, and I know that the Kentucky auto business is one that is at the forefront. And when I speak to people like our partners with Oxmoor, like our partners with Jake Sweeney, we know that Kentucky is leading the way in a lot of technological adoption. We know that there's also great hiring challenges in Kentucky, and that's why, there's lots of people who are coming into your dealerships who are eager, they're hungry, they want to work, right? Especially coming out of COVID, for the last couple of years. And we are just really proud to be able to help Kentucky dealers, help Kentuckians. And I think that to me is a really critical part of this. And as somebody who lives in rural Kentucky and Clark County, who's had 2 children born here and growing up here, We're proud to be associated with the Kentucky Auto Dealers Association. We're proud to be associated with Kentuckians, and we're proud to be at your conference. And we're proud to be a sponsor of that conference as well. So absolutely, we would love to just meet with anybody and everybody who is interested in growing the development of their individuals, as I know all dealers in Kentucky are. So thank you for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Mark. All right, and with that, we will conclude another episode of Kentucky Horsepower. We will see you down the road.